What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Mike Widmer with Expansion Real Estate Group. Happy Friday to you. Welcome to this month's edition of the monthly market update. Hope you guys have an amazing Friday. It's actually raining here in Phoenix, which is a little bit different, right? Don't get that too often, but kind of gloomy out there. And as we jump into our stats, our real estate market's been kind of gloomy too. So let's dive in. Let's look at what's going on. Let's keep it positive, and let me show what's happening here in Phoenix. So looking here at our Cromford Market Index. If you come down here, you can unfortunately see that we had a little bit of a drop in the index again, and a little bit bigger than normal. So we started off last month at 89.4, and this month we started off at 84.4. So a 5-point drop on the Cromford. And this is pretty interesting because if you look here, 84.4, the last time that we have been that low is way back in April of 2009. Okay, that's 15 years since we've had a Cromford Index score this low. So the buyers are definitely in control. We're going to kind of look at that today and talk about that. So looking at our to where we're at today. So today we're at 83.8. So it came down about not even a full point in the first week of the month, but definitely still kind of looking in that direction. You can kind of see here on our daily chart, we had that nice pickup coming in the start of the year with optimism, and unfortunately it's just kind of dwindled down all the way through today. So looking at here, 83.8 today, and then interesting thing here is this number right here, 95.2 on supply, and this needle now is in that normal range, right? So last month we had 16,874 active single-family homes. Today we have 18,142. That's a 7.5% increase over the last 30 days, and we are up 18% in inventory since the start of the year. We went up 34% all of last year, and this year, just in the first 2 months and a week, we're up 18%. So that's a big difference here. Good news is last month demand was at 77.1, and now it's at 79.8. So demand's increasing a little bit, and that is because I do have a little bit of good news today. Interest rates, right? I'm talking about it for, it seems like years and years and years, but we have had a nice decline over the last 3 or 4 weeks in interest rates. So we peaked up here at about just over 7%. And today we are all the way down at an average of 6.63. And that's kind of the average across the country. We locked in a buyer earlier this week at actually 6.375. So that's wonderful news. So as the market continues to, bring that interest rate down, I think we'll definitely see some more activity. So kind of a few things I want to talk about today without the charts is, buyers are really in control. I think we might look back at this period in time as a small window of opportunity. This happened in 2022. The last half of 2022, the market was so slow. And if you remember, that's when we went through all of the iBuyers unloading their properties. There was a small window there where the buyers could really negotiate. Just this week, 2 different deals representing the buyers, I got more than $50,000 off of the list price. Okay, and seller concession. So there's a lot of opportunity for buyers here that, and really thinking about investors, right? Investors, if you don't own an investment property, or if you've been thinking about it, long-term real estate is a winner. It's how most wealthy people build their wealth is through long-term real estate. And the really good thing about being an investor is there's nothing here. It's not emotional. It's all numbers. So if you've been considering an investment property, this may be an amazing time, even though the rates are still high, but we can get a really good deal on the buy side. If you get a really good deal on the buy side, that's a good investment. So something about, there for the buyers and on that side. But, if you're out there looking as a buyer, we can make some incredible offers and, not insult the sellers and usually get something worked out. So something to think about. So let's talk about sellers. There is some optimism for sellers too. The good thing about right now, if you have a buyer that's out there looking and they show your property, that's a serious buyer. They're moving for a reason, right? Either a relocation or a family need or a job thing. That they're serious. The buyers that are out there, they're buying, right? So One thing I want to talk about today for sellers, and I've been having to have this conversation a lot over the last few months with sellers, is I always call it the 3 P's of real estate. There's price, product, or patience. And you gotta have one of the three to sell a house, especially in this market where buyers are kind of in control. So if you have the very best price, if you have a super attractive price, your house will sell, right? Every house has a price it'll sell at, and if yours is attractive enough, it will sell. If you don't have the best price, then you need to have the best product, right? That's number 2. So if you have a completely remodeled house, people love the white cabinets, the quartz, the vinyl tile plank flooring or the wood tile flooring, great backyard. If you have a very shiny object, your house will also sell. If you don't have the best price and you don't have a very good product, that's when the 3rd P comes in, and that's patience, right? That's just waiting for this, interest rates to start to come down, the market to start to pick back up. So I can highly, highly, highly encourage you, if you're going to sell your home, you got to have one of those first 2, because nobody wants to sit on the market for 4, 5, 6 months. It's a really kind of a dreadful thing, especially coming off the market we've been in for the last 4 or 5 years, where we got used to selling a house, 5 offers, 10 offers, 25 offers, selling it the first weekend on the market. It's just such a different conversation. But if you price it right, you listen to your realtor and listen to the experts and price it where it should be, or if you want to push your price, you got to make the house look beautiful and make it show like a model and make that buyer walk in and just be wowed, right? Because buyers will pay. Buyers will pay for a shiny object. They absolutely will. And then the last thing I just want to talk about is the really good news is where we live. Phoenix as a whole has been, number 1, number 2, number 3 fastest growing city over the last decade consistently, right? We're a super popular place. The industry that's coming here, right? They're putting like a $1.9 billion addition to the Mayo Clinic up in Scottsdale. The Taiwan Semiconductors up in North Phoenix, they just committed another $100 billion investments there. The East Valley is full of aerospace, engineering, things like that, Boeing, companies like that. So Phoenix as a whole, plus it's beautiful, right? Besides it's raining today, it's such a nice place to live. The freeways are great. The schools are newer. The shopping's newer. It's just a really nice place to live. So I think long term we're going to be just fine. Once these rates get fixed out and the affordability thing gets fixed up, we're going to be just great. But right now it's a little bit slow. So if you have to buy or sell on this market, make sure you're talking to a professional. Give me a call. I can walk you through and tell you what's going on. And if you are thinking about investing, if it even crossed your mind, give me a call. I think it's a wonderful time to go out there and make some crazy offers and see what sticks, right? All right, guys, have an amazing month. Be here next week. Be here next month, and I'll talk to you then.